Welcome to Table Talks, episode 1 here on the Northwood Church YouTube channel. We are excited today to have special guest Yesenia Koppa, as she's going to talk with us about how the table is a place for healing. Yesenia, thank you so much for joining us for Table Talks. And today we're talking about how the table is a place for healing. I'm excited to hear your story about that. But before we get started, just tell us a little bit about who you are.
Sure. My name's Yesenia Koppa. I'm originally from New Jersey, and I've been in Texas now almost 12 years. I met my husband here in Texas. I relocated for my job, and I raised my children here, which is a great state to come to. Yeah. And so things have been really well coming to Texas. I came to Northwood originally. I lived in the apartments across the street when I relocated, and I started walking to Northwood. That's how I got introduced, and I signed up not knowing anyone to the Vietnam trips, and I've been twice. So I just immersed myself immediately into the Northwood culture, and I loved it, and met my husband here, and I'm not intending on leaving anytime soon.
Well, that's good. We love having you and your family here. Tell us a little bit about your kids. How many do you have and their ages?
So I have two. I have a 7-year-old, Eric, and then I also have a soon-to-be 3-year-old, Nathan.
Yeah. Well, talk to us a little bit about your family dynamics. So we're talking about the table and looking at who Jesus ate with and where he ate with as we go through the book of Luke. And then we're taking this topic and going to drive deep down into it and learn and explore more. But tell us a little bit about your own family. Like, do you guys eat at the table? Do you have any family traditions around the table?
Typically, I cook almost every night except on weekends. And so I make sure we eat together at the dinner table as a family. Sometimes my husband works late, so that doesn't quite necessarily work out. But one day the week that I know we're all there is Sunday mornings. Even though we get here at 9:30 service, I will make pancakes and bacon every Sunday morning, and we make sure we have a sit-down breakfast with the kids and everyone. In addition, I just recently this weekend we had group over, and we all had a sit-down dinner, and we cooked, barbecued. So I love having people over. So even though we're a family of 4, my table sits 8 people. And so that's one thing that I enjoy is cooking and having guests over all the time, and just having that family sense of gathering.
Yeah, so what are some of the special, unique things that you think happens when people gather around a table? Like, why is that important in our culture?
I think it's just the sense of coming together and connecting. Everybody's so busy these days with their, kids taking them here, there, and taking the time to really sit and talk and just connect. I mean, a lot of times after coming out of COVID, we missed a lot of that. So it's great having that connection and being able to talk and just laugh and connect that way.
That's great. Well, this past week we looked at in Luke how Jesus ate with Levi and all his tax collector friends, and the religious people kind of got mad at Jesus for who he was eating with, and he told them that, my kingdom is not for the well, it's for the sick. In other words, that the sick are the ones who need healing. And so we looked at where Jesus was at with the table, how the table really becomes a place for healing because, we meet Jesus there and he meets our needs. And you have a very unique story of healing. And today, actually, this Sunday is 9/11, and actually your story kind of coincides with that day. And so can you just take us on that journey with you of what happened to you on 9/11 and how God has used really his kingdom to heal you?
Yeah, it's something that I'm still healing from. I don't think it's something that is still sensitive and dear to my heart. But on 9/11, I did work in New York at that time. I had just started my company, Fidelity Investments, hired me in August. And so I was starting training that morning, and our office buildings were connected to the World Trade Center through a walkway. And so in the mornings, I'd come through the train, through the World Trade Center, and come up through there. And that day, 9/11 happened, and it was utter chaos. I saw everything. I witnessed the plane going into the building. I witnessed the destruction and ran for my life when the building started coming down and had to jump onto a cruise ship in order to get out, and grabbed a couple of my coworkers with me. Ended up in New Jersey and had to stay over some friend's house because I couldn't get home for like 2 days. Everything was shut down. And it was impactful. I couldn't communicate with my family whatsoever. Cell phones were down. And the utter disaster and the catastrophe and just seeing the people coming down from the buildings, it was heart-wrenching. And to be honest, I didn't even know what was going on. I was 22 years old or 23 when I started working there, and you don't understand what terrorism is. Yeah. You don't understand what evil can be out there. Mm-hmm. And to see it face to face was something that I don't wish on people to see if they can avoid it at any cost, because it took a lot out of me. I was depressed for a long time because you see and how many people died that day, and why was your life granted to you and you want to do something more, and people are celebrating right after that, so many holidays right afterwards, and families are gathering, and just people can't relate to you because of everything that's happened. Like you take life for granted so much. And that was really hard for me to deal with. But I know through that, my walk with Christ got a lot better than what it was before that. And, I came a lot closer. I got baptized after that and just got more serious about my life and my walk with Christ. And then, as moving along with the refugees, when the opportunity came through Northwood, it was that day I jumped up, like after we walked out of service, and they had said, come to the church down in Fort Worth to hear about this opportunity for us to serve the Afghan refugees. I got into the truck with my husband, and I said, we have to go. And he was like, oh, no. And I said, no, you don't understand. We have to go. I just feel that connection, and I feel the terror that they must be going through at this point in time where they're running for their lives, right? And they're losing their home. And I just felt the need that we had to help out in any way that we could. And so my husband couldn't argue with that. So he came with me. We got a babysitter, and we went down, and he got convinced, and he was like, okay, we'll do this. Whatever you want to do, we'll do it. And so that's kind of like where it started. And I feel like in some ways that has helped me heal those parts, because even when I see the 9/11 specials and things, I can't watch them because it just brings back nightmares for me and things like that. So I know there's always a part of me that's there, and I feel like by serving the refugees when they came and putting the organization and things together, the donations and helping them there, I felt a part, like another part of me was able to heal, to say, I can relate to you, I can understand your plight right now, and here's something for you, to help them through this hard time that they're going through.
Yeah, so it sounds like you felt a very special connection to them just because you'd been through such a trauma situation and you knew they were facing the same thing. But, the idea of terrorism and what that terror does to you. And so then you're able to take part of you that has been traumatized and needs to heal, and you're seeing other people going through that situation, and just by serving them, people going through the same type of situations as you brought you healing as well as you bringing them healing. And so tell us a little bit about and what you've done with the Afghan refugees here at Northwood, and then what's kind of been like your favorite part of that, what you've seen, how you've seen God move in your life, but also in their lives, and tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I just have a natural habit of organizing. So I feel like that's my domain. I just organize. And so for me, I worked with April Hale. We came together and we just got organized, getting the Amazon wish list together, putting and going out to the yard sales, looking for furniture, gathering items, organizing the room and just making sure we had all the sizes. And then when the families started coming in, we would get what are their needs, what sizes are they, and then we would gather up the boxes that we would deliver to the families of, if they had kids, we'd put the toys together and just kind of put everything, oh, they need some books, they need these toys and that. Is it a boy or girl? Okay, they need diapers, they need this. Anything that we could think of, we kind of reached out and tried to get others from Northwood to bring in, and then putting it all together. It was just amazing how it all worked out, and we were able to supply for them.
Yeah. Well, tell us a little bit about what God's done in your life in serving them and how you've seen him move in their lives.
The biggest thing that I think I saw out of that was through my children. Well, I should say my oldest. My youngest, he's still too young to realize, but I feel like through my son Eric, he has this heart of giving also. And so through this process, he would come with me to the yard sales. He'd come to me to the store, and we have our list of what do we need to buy to create the kits, the bathroom kit, the kitchen kit. And he would hold the list, and he would walk through the store and he'd pick it up and, they need this, they need that. Oh, can I go in my closet and go find some toys that I want to give the boys, because the first family had a couple boys come in. And so a lot of his toys went to them. And that just really touched my heart, is to see my child really give and see what I was able to show him and be like, okay, I get it, Mom. Let's do this. That was huge impact for me.
Yeah, that's powerful. And to see, you modeling something and your kids following suit, as we say here, Northwood, to live and love like Jesus, and to be able to pass that on generationally is powerful. And that, to bring our kids along with us when we engage in our domains and serve people is always a really positive thing, because you're helping the next generation see.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's funny how like a lot of times it's easier to leave them at home and not have to deal with them in the store. But I was like, no, I want him there with me. Yeah. So
yeah, there's nothing, often doing the right things and serving the kingdom is never really comfortable or easy. So doing those things the hard way, if you will, is how we have a ton of impact and influence. And you've done that. I mean, to be traumatized by 9/11 that day, from terrorists from the Middle East, and then to now reciprocate that and to be able to serve people from that area in Afghanistan now, and to see the healing take place in your life is really a powerful story. What would you say to someone else who has experienced hurt, pain, trauma, and what would you say to them about seeking out, healing from Jesus, how his table is a place for healing? What would you say to someone?
Give God an opportunity. It's worth it, and it's not, he will listen. Yeah. Right? I think sometimes we try to deal with it on our own. And for several months after 9/11, I tried to deal with it on my own. I kind of isolated myself. I wouldn't really talk to many people. I wouldn't go out. I just kind of self-contained and wallowed in my depression in my room. And until I gave it to God, did it really allow me to say, I gotta move on. It happened. It's part of my life. It's something that I will never forget. It's taught me so much not to take life for granted. And if you have a fear, just go for it, And I think people just have to let it go, ultimately, and let God do his job. And I think we just get in his way thinking that we can deal with it, and we really can't. Not until you let it go and let him give you the hope and the vision that it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay.
Well, I thank you so much for joining us on this episode and talking about how the table is a place for healing and for being vulnerable and sharing your story. It's a powerful story, and I know a lot of people are going to get a lot out of it. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.